Florida doesn't want you to vote. Welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Host David Washington, Joel Hoxley. It's just a pleasure to be here with you. This is a J&Washington network production. David, we're going to be talking about new Florida laws that have a huge impact on voter registration and turnout.
Sure.
So Florida Division of Elections shows a 14.5 million active registered voters on the state's rolls at the end of 2022.
Okay.
Close to 2 years later, that number has dropped 8%, roughly 13.4 million as of May 31st. That's a huge drop. All in all, a loss of 1.1 million voters, with Democrats taking the brunt of the losses. The new measures, which encompass more stringent voter ID requirements, restriction on mail-in voting, and diminished access to drop-off locations, are perceived as obstacles that disproportionately impact minority and low-income populations. The ramifications of these laws are profound, as they may significantly influence electoral outcomes by decreasing the pool of eligible voters.
Well, it's a Republican-controlled governor's mansion, a Republican-controlled legislature, and a Republican-controlled judiciary here in Florida. Therefore, you get Republican-controlled agendas and Republican-sponsored legislation that will, in the spirit of voter or voting integrity, protection, safety, has enabled Republicans here in Florida to put more restrictions on voting. That has affected, third-party registers, has affected the amount of time that people have to request a vote by mail ballot, and how many times you have to request a vote by mail ballot.
What's today's date?
Today's date is the 8th. I know today is the last day. So it's August the 8th, 2024. By the time this comes out, it's too late for you to request a vote by mail ballot here in Florida for this upcoming election, August 20th.
Yep. Listen, David, yep, absolutely. That's why I kind of like perfect timing for this episode.
Yeah.
We're having a conversation. But I'd like to ask a couple of questions.
Let's talk.
So, disproportionately impacting minority and low-income populations.
Is it?
So let me ask you, voter ID requirements. How does that impact? How does that impact? You can get an ID. You can get it free if you have to have the low income.
And let's flesh that out. Can we stop there and flesh that out? Because I see how the liberals and Democrats have an issue with voter ID. And I'm going to use an example, and I don't think this is an example for everybody. I think this is an example for a rare occasion that someone who doesn't have their birth certificate, you need your birth certificate to get an ID. Am I incorrect?
Most likely. Well, to get where you need to get, you're going to have your birth certificate to get the star on it now.
Okay. So to verify that it is who you are supposed to be. So
correct.
I know there are, in the older generations, sometimes someone who is like maybe in their 80s, 90s, even 100 or so may not have their birth certificate or access to their birth certificate, or that they move, someone moved from one state to another and need it for, to get a driver's license or their ID. I can understand the difficulty there. However, I think those are rare occasions. Maybe someone who comes from a different country, that could be another issue. However, there are other methods of showing verification of who you are.
Correct, and it's just a photo ID. I mean, it's not like
And like you said, you can get it for free. There are organizations, even here in Orlando, that help with the homeless get IDs,
if I
and
pull my
return
pa-
citizens get
if
IDs.
I pull my passport and I go use my passport, it's old enough where I look at myself and go, God, I wish I had
Yes.
that skin again. Like, oh, I
Right.
wish I was a little bit younger. So look, it's a photo ID. It doesn't. It may not even look like you have the time. So just the next question: restrictions on mail-in
So
vote.
you
Right?
know where we stand on voter IDs. I'm sorry, Lips, but
Just bring your ID. I have no problem with that. But restriction
yeah.
on mail-in voting.
Okay.
So what restriction? Now, when we talked about restriction, what restriction are we talking about? The fact that you now need to do it every year?
That's a pain in the butt, but it's like changing your batteries in your smoke detector. You do it twice a year, and you time it with the change in the clock.
Yeah. Well, I look at this one. Restriction is I don't want you to send me a ballot if I'm not going to vote. And that's
Yeah.
what was happening. What was happening is there were there were people that
Oh,
that
excuse
signed
me.
up for the ballot, and there was three election cycles, correct?
Okay.
That before you had to renew. So what if you only wanted to vote for this? You sign up, you only wanted to vote this one
Good
time
point.
because
Yeah.
I want to vote for David Washington. David Washington is the only thing on that ballot I want
Yeah.
to vote
Good
for,
point.
and but I can't do it. So I'm going to get the mail-in ballot. I get the mail-in ballot, and for the next 3 years, I'm getting ballots.
I see your point. I see your point. I mean, I like the convenience that I can just have to worry about it one time, and then 3 years later, I just renew my request. And so I kind of prefer, the do it once, 1 year, and then for the next three cycles, election cycles, I'm good to go. But again, it's like every new year. And I think when I requested this year, I requested on the day that reminded me to request my vote by mail ballot. So, request it on your birthday, request it on New Year's Day. Everything can be done online or in
I mean, you have
person.
to go get your new ID.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes if you ever your license plate's going to expire, but you can do
Request
it.
it then.
They can
You
do it
can do it
then.
at
Yeah.
the tax collector's
Yep, you
office.
sure can. So I mean, I don't see what I see is there's less ballots out there to
It
you know
saves money, sure.
there's less ballots out there, so
And
I'm okay with this.
I know our friend Glenn Glazine,
Mhm.
the Orange County Supervisor of Elections, has done wonders in bringing a little bit more technology to the office, and also opening. And this is going to get to, I guess, the other points.
Mhm.
Opening another early voting location in Eatonville, Florida.
That's good. That's
A
a
new one,
phenomenal
yeah.
one. So, uh, diminished access to drop off locations. Like, why would we have multiple? You have one supervisor of elections
Yeah.
office, and then you're going to have drop
Well,
boxes at each one of the early
early voting,
voting,
right,
which will be open when those sites are open.
right.
Uh,
Okay.
I have a Dropbox that really, I think Anna Escamani made the joke, and she's not totally wrong.
Dr.
So
Anna Escamani.
Doctor, yes. Okay. Woo! Congratulations. I can't
Yes.
say that enough. It was a lot of work for her to do that too. So,
Yes.
different story. We had a
Mhm.
great interview with her. The thing is, do we still have mailboxes? Vote by mail. Drop in mailbox. Dropbox.
I think we have them at the supervisor here in Orange. We have them at the supervisor of elections office and at the early voting sites.
And you
And I
have a
think it's on
post
at the
office.
Discord, right? Yeah, at the post office, right? And
And
yeah,
there's Dropboxes. Like if you have sometimes you do have the blue one.
right.
What just, I mean, that's a Dropbox. Look, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I think the terminology is I need a place where I can stuff ballots is what they're fighting with. But listen, just maintain your ballot, send it in, or hold on to it and release it on election
and
day.
even
So
if you don't put a stamp on your vote by mail ballot and you put it into the U.S. Postal Service mailbox, they still will deliver it.
that's for you Seminole County people because Orange County already has removed that poll tax. Yes, I said it. Seminole County, look to make sure that you put postage paid because that to me is a poll tax.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, the drop boxes. Yeah, that just opens up to some shenanigans, voting shenanigans. I have no problem here in Orange County.
So I would say it's just what's made it harder is educating those people that you got into the routine. Like you have to now reach out to everybody and tell them the rules have changed.
And what does it matter to the Democrats or even the Republicans when turnout in city elections are abysmal? Turnout in primaries is shitty. Turnout in general elections, unless you get a top hitter, two top heavyweights like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump going after each other. Otherwise, turnout is crap. So
Well,
why are these things an issue if both parties, I'll speak for the Democratic Party, aren't even doing what they need to do right now, August 8th, 2024, to bring more people into the party as Democrats. And I'll say the same as Republicans.
well, I I just for some reason I don't see this. I just see it as a voter participation is low because we're not giving it any energy.
Mm-hmm. We're not.
We're not giving you candidates that can bring energy. Like I get some candidates with a little charisma, get some candidates, maybe some candidates that are a little
Get
controversial.
organized.
Oh, absolutely. But this is the thing. If you got somebody who's interested, if you know somebody who's just getting politically active and if you're in a chamber and you're going, you know what, I can do a better job than that person and I want to challenge them. Leadership Academy 2025. Listen, the sign up's going to be soon, but you got to start thinking: is this the direction I want to go? Because we're going to teach you in Leadership Academy exactly what's going to happen. We're going to talk about those things that you weren't going to, expect to happen, and it's a whole structure of just really good information. So when you go to run, you're better prepared than you've ever been before.
He's right. He's right. And, you know, you want the best information and be better prepared. And the best way to go about that, to be a leader in your community, to be a candidate for elected office, or even as elected, to be better prepared and knowledgeable about the political world around you. You would want the best information, the most current information, the information that's valuable at that time and moving forward. And the Leadership Academy is where you will get that information. You will learn how to be a better leader, a better candidate, a better elected. You will learn that it's not about you as a candidate. It's about the people that you want to serve. What are their kitchen table issues? What are they saying? Are they asking you to come and step up and represent their communities with the, their ideas, their needs, and not just the needs of special interests, whether it's a developer class, the donor class, the environmentalists, the peace lovers, the tree huggers, whatever, big money, big pharma, big power, whatever. You want to be in the room, in the field with people who know what it means to have a strategy to win.
Like, share, be part of our network. This has been a J&Washington Network production.